Welcome friends. This is another video in the series of videos with regards to the AWS Certified Machine Learning Specialty Exam. Today we are going to cover EMR or Elastic Map Reduce. So EMR is one of the prominent topics that can come in the questions that are asked in the examination. So basically EMR is it's a managed Hadoop framework on EC2 instances. It's basically a managed service. It includes Spark, HBase, Presto, Flink, Hive, and some other services as well. It also has something called EMR notebooks. It has several integration points with AWS, and when it comes specifically to machine learning, EMR clusters help in processing large volume of data for cleaning or training, etc. When we talk about an EMR cluster, it is basically consisting of three different types of nodes. Nodes are actually the actual EC2 instances. There are three types of nodes, as I mentioned. The first one is the master node. The master node is something which is mandatory, and it basically manages the overall cluster, and it's one single EC2 instance. For any EMR cluster to exist, at least one node needs to be defined, and that node has to be a master node only. Now, apart from the master node, there is another set of nodes called the core nodes. They host the actual data, the HDFS data, and basically they can also run tasks. They can be scaled up and down, like the core nodes, like I mentioned, they hold all the data. Now the task node is an additional set of nodes or optional nodes that are purely to execute the tasks. The important thing to note here is the task nodes, there is no risk of data loss as they don't hold any data, and that's why they are a really great candidate for being used, basically really great candidate for Spot instances to be used as task nodes. Next, when we talk about EMR usage, there are two types of clusters that can be created. One is a transient cluster. It is a cluster which automatically gets set up and then gets terminated when all the defined steps are successfully completed. And then the other option is the long running cluster, when our workflow is not well defined and we are trying to perform, let's say, POCs, or we are just trying to experiment or test some code with the data, then we can have a long running cluster defined. This cluster needs a manual termination. It is not like it does not has an automated cycle like transient cluster. Now the way we can connect to the clusters is possible via two steps. One is we directly connect to the master node and execute the job, and second is to we can submit the ordered steps via the AWS console, and then the steps will execute. Now AWS, basically integration of EMR with AWS. So Amazon EC2 for the basically Amazon EC2 for the instances that comprise of nodes in the cluster. That is one way to basically integrate. Second is Amazon VPC to configure the virtual networks in which the listener instances are launched. Then Amazon S3 basically is used to store input and output data, and Amazon CloudWatch is used to monitor cluster performance and configure the alarms. AWS IAM to configure the permissions. AWS CloudTrail to audit the requests and requests made to the services, and AWS Data Pipeline to schedule and start your clusters. So in all, these are the core services that basically become a part of an EMR integration scenario. And basically they each play a different role as per the requirement in the overall application setup. Now when we talk about EMR storage, the primary type of storage is the HDFS, which is the classical Hadoop infrastructure for storage. It is a distributed scalable file system that is default to Hadoop. It actually stands for Hadoop Distributed File System. The advantage with this is the data gets locally stored on the instance sorry, wherever it is defined. So the only thing so we get a we get the advantage with this as to be the process is really fast because the data lies the physical data lies on the actual physical node, but the limitation is there is a high risk of data being lost if the instance is lost. Another way to store data is either EMR-SF, which is kind of similar to HDFS, the only difference being the data actually resides on S3 instead of on the physical node. It behaves and works the same way as if the data was on physical node with and also there is not a significant amount of performance loss. And it has the advantage of being highly available, and the risk of data loss gets reduced. It also has something called EMR-SF consistent view. This is an optional service that can be used with S3, and also it uses DynamoDB to track the consistency of the data. Then the other options are, of course, local file system, where we are not even using any distributed system. It's basically just a kind of the files getting stored locally on the instance itself. It also has the same risk as HDFS of data loss if the instance is lost. And then there is another option which is EBS, the Elastic Block Store for HDFS. Sorry. So these are all the different ways by which we can basically store the data in an EMR cluster. Now, when we talk about EMR, it basically has some commitments that it comes with. So it charges our account by hour. So charges are basically EC2 charges are separate from the MapReduce cluster that gets created on EMR. So as soon as but because this is a managed service, as soon as a core node fails up, the new node automatically gets provisioned, and we can also add or remove task nodes on the fly. So that's the reason task nodes are really good candidates for the usage of Spot instances, and we can resize the core nodes of a running cluster if as and when needed, depending on our requirement. So this is basically overall the information related to the EMR process with AWS, and this basically more or less covers all the information that will be relevant to any of the questions that get asked on the EMR services. In subsequent videos, we'll also take a look at EMR notebooks as well as some other additional services related to Elastic MapReduce, and specifically looking into Apache Spark and how Spark integrates, and how Spark is actually a really good replacement for the conventional MapReduce process. So stay tuned for the next video, and I'll be covering all those topics later on. Hope this video was informative. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.